Hello and welcome to my channel, WB Plays. Today I'm bringing you a game called Missionchief. It's a UK version of this game, and it's actually played through your web browser, so anyone can play it. You don't need any fancy hardware, it's all just run through your internet browser. I'm playing the UK version, because I'm from the UK, this is the one I play the most, but there are other versions from different countries, which all have slight differences to really make it fit for that country. It's free to play this game entirely. You can create as big of a setup as you want to, all for free. So how this game works is you start by a map. It loads a bit like Google Maps. It just loads you up a map. You can choose anywhere in the world that you want to set up. You can have one area, you can have several areas if you want. It's entirely up to you. Now, the area I've chosen here, this is Birmingham in the UK. It's the second biggest city outside of London. And all of these little icons that you see on this map are various stations that I have built. So the general idea of this game is that it will generate emergency incidents. These will pop up at various locations on the map, and your role is basically a dispatcher. So you look through your available units and you decide what needs to go to that mission, which units from which stations, and you send them. As I said, it's entirely up to you whether you want to have a small setup, a big setup. You can do anything that you like. So you can really create that small town feel if you want to, with a few specific units, and it really makes you think about when and where to deploy them. Or if you end up having big setups like this, then obviously you'll have more units and more specialties to play with, but you'll get bigger scale incidents. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out and show you this setup I have at the moment. I've been playing this for quite a while. So all of these icons are all stations which I've made. You can choose where they place your stations. I've chosen to place them in real life locations as far as I can tell from research where they are, but you can put them wherever you want it. It's up to you if you want to play realistically or not. That's absolutely fine. And at the moment I cover all of the Birmingham area, West Midlands, Coventry is here, and I'm also expanding into Warwickshire and Hereford and Worcester. But that's still being made over this area. As you can see, I've got the fire stations in, but still working on the rest of it. So every time an incident is generated, and you deal with it by sending the right units there, you actually see the units drive from their stations to the incidents, and I'll show you that in a minute. Once the incident's complete, then you get a certain number of credits awarded to you, and then the units, once they're available again, will automatically drive back to their own stations. Credits are what you can use to build more stations and buy more vehicles for them. So as I say, it is completely free to play. All you need to do is solve more missions to get more credits, and that helps you to expand. You can create big setups as you want. I think there is a limit, but it's thousands of buildings. I'm still a while off that limit, and I've already covered this big area here. So big in fact it's slightly lagging to load all of these icons up. You can, if you want to, buy coins, which is essentially a second currency in the game. You buy coins with real life money, and coins are essentially, you can buy everything with coins that you can buy with credits. It just helps you to play faster if that's what you want to do. So if you want to create a bigger setup quicker, then just buy some coins and use those instead of the credits. So, as you can see, all of these stations, I've chosen the location for them, I've chosen my own icons so that you can quickly work out what they are. So all of these blue logos here are police stations. There's one. And as I say, I've based these off real life locations in the areas that I know, and otherwise just based off what I can find on the internet. So I don't know whether it's 100% accurate or outdated, but this is the way I have it set up. You can also build hospitals, so you can see I have a hospital here, hospital there. You can even build your own departments in the hospitals. You have, let's see, some ambulance stations as well, and the fire stations. Now at the moment, because I've got no incidents at the moment, because I've paused the generation of them just to show you the map and talk through the gameplay. But once we start going through incidents, you'll see little icons that pop up all over the map which show us where incidents are. Using this little button here on the right, I can filter what's on the map. So I can turn off my buildings. And this is what you'll get, obviously, if you just start a brand new game. You'll just get a blank map, like you would in Google. And then it's entirely up to you where you want to place something. Now you can also join alliances in this game, and alliances mean essentially you team up with other players. So if I zoom out and give it a little second to load, now this really does lag my computer because there are so many icons that it needs to render in. And as you can see, all of these grey icons are various buildings from the alliance, which means that other players in my alliance have built them. That's their setup. So I can't control them, but I can see where they are. And together with a team of other players, as you can see, we're working our way through covering a huge area of the country. And you can build wherever you want, like I say. So we have some members building in London, some in Wales, some like me in the Midlands, and others all over the whole UK. You don't have to join an alliance. If you want to, you can play on your own, but I like being part of an alliance. It really kind of enriches the game, makes it feel more realistic. You can deal with bigger incidents, you can request resources from each other as well. So as you can see here, I've zoomed into this and you can see some units are on the route to a call. This looks like an alliance member sending a few police units down here. And it looks like this is probably where they're going to. As you can see, it's a CBRNE incident. So their police units are on the way to that. And as you can see, I've labelled that icon as a major incident because it would be in real life. But as that's in an alliance area and they haven't requested any help for it, we'll just let them carry on with that. And I'll go back to my area and we'll show you how it works. So here you can control the speed that the mission is generated. As you can see at the moment, I've got it on pause. So what I'm going to do is just put it on to the normal generation speed. So we'll generate calls for us. You can change these speed settings at any time if it becomes a bit crazy or you want to pause the game so you can work out some planning and building. That's fine. Now we'll open up our missions menu. By the way, this screen and this layout and the map view and all of these openable tabs, you can customise these fully. This is just how I have it set up, but there are a whole number of different setups that you can use if you want. You can play it across multiple screens. I prefer to play it on one. And I just have my incidents here along the left and my maps set up on the right. As you see, we've had our first incident come in. So if we click on it to zoom over, it's a fuel spill from a car. So it's not a major incident, but it's a good one to start with. So as you can see, it shows us on the map where the incident is. It's on Bridge Street here, and it looks like this town is called Wellesbourne. Wellesbourne's got its own fire station, just up the road. So all I'm going to do, I can either click on here click on this tag on the map, or I could just click on the dispatch button on the menu list. And this opens up your dispatch screen. Now I'll talk about all of these in a minute, don't worry, because it looks very confusing, but that's just how I've set it up. If we scroll down, this will show us a list of all of our units available. As you can see, the closest one is this fire engine. Now I've tagged the colours so that I know what type the units are, and I use red for my fire engines. As you can see, that would take 3 minutes and 46 seconds to arrive at the incident. So what I'm going to do is tick it. It only needs one engine, or pump as the game calls it, and then I click dispatch. And then as you can see, the icon next to it is turned yellow, which means that there is a unit assigned, and it's currently on the way. When there was no units assigned, you might remember that was a red icon, and that's just a way I have it set up so that I can tell quickly which incidents I have to dispatch and which ones are already in progress. So, let me look at the Wellesbourne fire station by opening that. As you can see, it's only got one engine in it. And because it's a retained station in real life, I've set a delay of 180 seconds. So that means from the time I've clicked dispatch, this isn't going to leave the station for 180 seconds. And that's just to add a bit of realism. You can set whatever delay you like there. It's set to status 3, which means it will be on the way to that job, fuel spill from the car. So in 180 seconds time, that will leave the station, drive up here, and arrive at that. So I'm just going to wait and show you how that looks. Okay, so as you can see, the engine has now left the station. It's turned its lights on, and you'll see it following the quickest route as the normal map software, you know, like a sat-nav would calculate. It's all built into the game. And you can see it following this road, and it will drive all the way to the incident. And then once it returns from the incident, it will turn its blue lights off and it will drive at a normal road speed. Again, you can choose whatever icons you want for these vehicles. That's what I like about this game. You can customise it fully. And once it arrives on scene, we'll see that icon now changes. And again, that's just an icon I've made to show that the incident is fully resourced, and it's just a matter of time now until it completes. And if you want to see how long that will take, you can just open the incident, and here on the top right you can see time left 1 minute and 30 seconds. So it's only a small minor incident, so it won't take long to deal with, but obviously the bigger incidents take longer. Now it's a dispatching game, so incidents are always shorter in the game than they would be in real life, but the journey and response times are the same. Obviously real life fires would probably take, several hours to deal with, and you'd have no units during that time, so the game shortens the time it takes to deal with jobs, so you get your vehicles back sooner. Okay, so as you can see, whilst we've been waiting for this to be dealt with, several other incidents have been generated. So let's start going through and dispatching them. So here we have somebody with breathing problems, and lucky for them, they are just down the road from one of my main ambulance hubs. If you put the mouse over it, you can see all of the vehicles that I've got inside at the moment. So let's dispatch them an ambulance. Now all of these here, again, are tags that I've made myself. You can set them up however you want to, or you don't even have to use them. If you want to, you can just go from the default game list here. But these are called Alarm Response Regulations, or shortened to ARR. And essentially it's like a predetermined response to dispatch whatever units you select. And the way I've chosen to set it up, as you can see, is I've grouped all the different possible missions in the game into their categories. And for breathing problems, all I need to do is find it on the list of medical incidents. As you can see, if I hover my mouse over, it tells me this will just dispatch one ambulance, because that's all this job requires. Now if I click it, you can see I've selected it once, and then all I need to do is press dispatch. And then after a short time for its response delay for the crew members to load up into the vehicle and receive the job and then start travelling, as you can see, it looks like this. HD 4012 has been assigned, so their status has changed to 3, which means they're en route, and 2 for all of the others means they're available. So after a short time, that vehicle will leave, travel to the incident and deal with it. There we go, with its lights on. Right, let's carry on with the next incidents. Here we've got a person with a weapon, and as you can see, this flashing icon is what I use for my most serious incidents. So if I want to, rather than use this side list, I can zoom out and just look for the icons. And as you can see, we've got a couple of others as well, we'll get to them. So if I'm playing fully realistic as a dispatcher, I'll focus on these flashing icons first, because they're the most urgent calls that need a sign. Okay, so as you can see, this is in Rugby, and there is a police station nearby. So let me open this up. We will find person with a weapon in the police incidents. Now this time to the side of it means how long it would take for all your vehicles needed to arrive on scene. So if I hold my mouse, obviously this one requires 5 police cars, 1 dog unit and 2 ARVs. So there's quite a number of vehicles. As you can see, 8 of them altogether. And that's why creating these can really help you speed up the dispatch process, because otherwise I'd have to find them all in this list and click 8 times. But with this I can just click once there and once there. And now, as you can see, it turns to yellow to show it's resourced, and the very relevant police units will be on the way. So there are 4 on the way from here. But there are other police units coming from elsewhere, because obviously we need dogs and ARVs, and this is only a local station with local units. Okay, so as you can see, our breathing problems has popped back up, and it's turned back red, and that means we need another unit to assist this ambulance. So if we scroll down, we can see that our ambulance is on scene and they need a critical care. So there are 2 ways we can do this. We could find this from the list, and as you can see, there is a critical care worker which is just a minute away, so we will dispatch them. But the other way I'll just show you is, again, a bit like the ARRs up here. I've created menus of different agencies here. WMAS, which stands for West Midlands Ambulance Service. If I want to dispatch a particular type of vehicle, I can open it up that way. And as you can see, again, there's just to find the nearest critical care unit. And if I select that, you'll see it automatically chooses one on that list. So this critical care worker is coming from Hereford Ambulance Hub. It's 30 seconds away, and it's going to help that ambulance on scene. So we should be able to see it now on the map. There it is, just travelling down. And that's turned back to yellow, which means the units needed are on the way, so we can leave that be. Okay, next job here. It's only just up the road. It's C4, which means it's very minor, low priority. But I'll send an ambulance anyway. There we go. And again, that should come out of this space here. It looks like 4006 has been assigned. Okay, next one here. So we have burglary in Warwick. So let's open that up. We'll find it on the police list, and as you can see, it's going to send 3 police cars and a dog unit. And we'll leave them be. And you can see, if you have your incidents generating quickly, this game can very quickly have a lot of calls for you to deal with. Okay, we've got a basement fire here in Dudley. We'll just select that on the list. It will only take less than 3 minutes for our needed vehicles to arrive. Here we have an AMPR flag. So you can see this little red X here, that means that there aren't the units available to deal with this call. But that's because the game only loads a certain number of units each time you open the screen, just to help reduce the demand and the lag. But I do have those units, just because I have such a big setup now. They're further away, so all I need to do is just load my remaining vehicles. As you can see, everything turns green, and now I can dispatch. And that's just going to send 3 traffic cars. And I know in my particular setup, this incident's down here, but the nearest base I have for the traffic cars is up here. So as you can see, they have to travel all the way down and through the centre of the city and then down the other side. So that's why they're quite some distance. But that's how it is in real life, as far as I know. And that's what my setup is based on. Okay, we've got a high priority call here. And luckily again, it's just up the road from an ambulance station. So let's send them an ambulance. And now, that didn't work. Remember our original fuel spill in Wellesbourne? As you can see, the icon's vanished, which means it's dealt with, and the engine is driven back to its station, and it's now returned as code 2 again, so it's available for more calls. Okay, so in this job, we can see it's turned red again, which means it needs our attention. This is the breathing problem call that we had to send a critical care medic to. And now it's saying transport is needed. So that means that in the medical call, the ambulance has dealt with the patient and it needs to go to a hospital. There's some that don't always need to go to hospital, sometimes they're discharged on scene, but most of the time they go to hospital. And as a dispatcher, we have to choose which hospital that is. So, I have a mod at the moment which filters this list available, but you might find, normally I have a lot of hospitals, so this would be a very long list. But I have it set up so that it's just going to go to the closest one, which is Hereford County. And all I do is click Transport Patient, close this window, and as you can see, this ambulance is going to travel to that hospital with its blue lights. And the critical care medic is now available again, and will return to its base unless I send it somewhere else. And once the ambulance drops that patient off at hospital, it will again turn itself available and drive back to its base. Okay, let's keep going, there's more jobs coming in. Now we have a suspicious package over here, just nearby Blockswitch. And this is quite a big call that needs a lot of different units. So I'm just going to load up all the units I have. And there we go, 12 vehicles altogether. We'll get them on the way. We have an HGV fire over here in Bushbury. There is a fire station just up the road. Hopefully they'll get there fairly quickly. You can see from this list just how many possible incidents there are in the game. We've got a large drunken disorder just nearby Spark Hill. Okay, now Now here we've got a major incident that's come in, and you can obviously tell them from the icons I've made from it. And the major just means that it's going to take a lot of units. So, I've grouped all of my major incidents along here, and luckily everything that we need is available. As you can see, it sends 42 vehicles altogether. So we get quite a big response to this. Just because of the number of vehicles, it just takes a little second for the game to load it. And now if we go back into that incident, we can see here are all of the units that I've got on the way. And it will show you all of their the response time. So as you can see, with my predetermined response, it sends 4 ambulances and 2 critical care workers. But if we look here at the top, it's actually got 16 possible patients, and it also lists them all here. But we've only got 4 ambulances assigned. So what I'm going to do is just add on more ambulances, because all of these people are going to need assessing by their own ambulance. That's how this game works. So I'm going to send 12 more ambulances. And then, as I say, some of those will need treatment, and some of them will just be sent home from the scene, and those ambulances will be clear again. And so now you can start to see, for this major incident, is pulling in a lot of units from various different stations nearby. This being the nearest ambulance station, it looks like it's sent most of the vehicles from there. Okay, let's carry on. We've got another major incident unfolding. The incidents, I think, are just random, so you could have 20 major incidents coming at once. You could have none. I suppose that's just how real life works. Obviously, this being a game, you do get more major incidents than you would in real life, so several on the go sometimes. But obviously, the bigger the incidents, the more credits you get, so it does balance out well. Okay, this is a major firearms attack. Luckily they are rare in real life in England, but in the game you might get a few of them. Okay, and we've got 23 units available for that, so let's send them. And we've got an animal attack up here. Excuse me. So let's just manually dispatch this one. And as you can see, it just needs 1 police car, but it also has 1 patient, which is also shown at the top here. So all I'm going to do is select 1 police car, and then I can filter the types of vehicle I want, and I'll just find, as you see, there isn't an ambulance nearby, it's not close enough, so I'll have to load in all the rest of my fleet just to find the first available ambulance, which I've tagged in this colour. So already you can see, after only a few incidents, our closest ambulance is nearly 16 miles away, and that would just be because these 2 major incidents here, the way the dispatching works is it will just pull in the closest available. So it looks like all of the ones from this station, which is the closest, have already been pulled to these 2 incidents, meaning that the next nearest ambulance for this is coming from somewhere all the way over here. Now what I could do obviously is I could say take one of these ambulances and cancel it and divert it, as a real dispatcher may do, but as it's quite a lower level call, it's only grade 2, I'm going to leave them running to the major job, and this lower grade call will just have to wait a bit longer, and these are the decisions we'll need to make as a dispatcher. Okay, so the basement fire needs our attention again, and this is because it's requesting an ambulance, so obviously there's a patient on the scene. So the fire crews are there, but they need an ambulance. So let's find the nearest one is 5 minutes away. And as the fire crews are on scene, hopefully they'll just keep the patient stable until the medics get there. Okay, so this needs transport again. You might see this little radio icon, which turns green, and this kind of gives me notifications of the radio statuses of the units. So all of these showing a status 4 means that they've arrived at their jobs. And this flashing one here at the top, this is the ambulance from here. It's just flashing to say, hey, I need to transport this person, where should I go? And the closest one here is Samuel Johnson Hospital, 5 kilometres away. So let's get going to that. As you can see, he's now on his way. Right then, and as you can see here, this unit, RCF-11, the mission they were at has changed from a large drunken disorder to a panic button activation, okay? And it looks like that's the same call up there. So let's view that mission. And as you can see now, we've got 2 police cars and a police dog, but it needs 7 more police cars because of the panic button. So let's just find that. Now I've grouped my police units. Some of them are dedicated response vehicles and some of them are other functions, as in real life. So I'm going to play realistically here. And this colour I know means the nearest response. So we have 6 available from Stepford Police Station. And what I'm also going to do is just find these gold units, which are sergeants. That's from Stepford Police Station as well. And we're going to send a sergeant down to make sure everything's okay. And as you can see, this is now lit up green. I've found 7 of the 7 vehicles I need. But I also need to consider now there are 5 patients which weren't there at the start of the mission. So I'm going to also need to send 5 ambulances. And I'm also going to send this OM, Operational Manager. And that's like an ambulance supervisor. And he's not actually needed for this mission, but just for roleplay. If a real call comes in that needs 5 patients, I think an officer would normally be sent to supervise it. So let's send all of those units. And now you can see all of the ones I just selected have turned as code 3, which means they're on the way to the job. We've got another unit here that needs transport. And this is a police van, as you can see. So they've arrested someone from the person with a weapon call. And they need to transport to a police station. Okay, so the closest one is Coventry, which is 26 kilometres away. So we'll have them travel there. And you can see, unless you're really, really quick with these, they do stack up, even just on normal speed. So I'm just going to blast through a few of these and just use the keyboard shortcuts just to get through really quickly. It's large drunken disorder. Stop and search. Burning machine, fire alarm. An HGV lost its load. Person matching description of a suspect in a crime. And another one. Okay, a reported fire in the open. When you get big setups like this, with a lot of different units and a lot of calls coming in, then this is like the quickest, most efficient way to dispatch, just to keep up with it. Okay, so all of my medical calls have turned red, which probably means the game can't find an ambulance, within range of the vehicles it's loaded, so I'll just have to load ambulances further away. So there will be one coming, but just further away than I'd like. Okay, and also just at the bottom of this list here we have a separate type of mission, which is called patient transfers. And obviously these are not emergency calls, but you can still manage them if you build hospitals and clinics, and they still generate you credits. And I've set up, you can use normal ambulances for it, but I've set up a dedicated fleet. So I just like to resource all of these every now and then. Just helps me bring in more credits. And as you can see, everything here is yellow, which means it's in progress and I've dispatched the right units, and more jobs are coming in and there's more work we need to do, more units being asked for. And as you saw with this one here, incidents can change, so what they're called in as might change when you arrive on scene. So it might come in as a simple grass fire, and that spreads to a nearby house, and that could spread to a nearby tower block, and suddenly, you sent one engine, but by the time they get there, they realise it's a whole building engulfed, and they're going to need a lot more. So this game really is quite fun. You can have it busy as you like, and it adds that extra challenge. And it really does kill a lot of time if you're not careful. Alright, I'm going to leave it there for today. Let me know how you found it. If you want to see more of this, or if you want me to run through any tutorials, I can do. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.